السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. طلبة السمستر الثاني كلية الطب جامعة طرابلس, class number 7. Welcome everybody to the English for non-subject specialist for medical students at Tripoli University. For the second semester students. Today we are going to deal with the beginning of the profession of doctors, or how to start, or what is one of the main issues of being a doctor, which is taking a history. Of course, from the word history, it's not about talking about something about a country, or talking about something which is or which happened for a group of people, or some issues related to the, for example, wars or events in the past. But now we are dealing now with a patient and disease, and this patient, of course, has some issues related to his disease. So you have to, in your job here, to talk with your patient, and as we said in the past, you have to have some some interaction with the patient to make the patient, for example, feel comfortable to talk to you and to tell you about his pains and his disease or sickness in a way that you can diagnose the illness, or you can give the appropriate treatment for the patient. And this is a very important issue, because knowing a history, or knowing how to deal with the history of a patient, that makes you a successful doctor. Now, before we listen, we are going to read this guide to taking medical history, and this guide shows you how to deal with different types of people. Of course, as a doctor, you know that there are different types. You have children. If you become a pediatrician, for example, you are going to deal with children, or with young people, or adults, or even with people with special needs. So today we are going to have this little paragraphs about taking this history, and after that we are going to do, of course, as usual, the exercises related to this, as vocabulary and listening and so on. So you are welcome to the class again, and we are going to start now.
Unit 8, Taking a History, Exercise 5, page 19.
Assista Med, Guide to Taking Medical Histories. As a medical professional, you should be prepared to take thorough medical histories. The data you collect reveals important details about a patient. Doctors use these details to uncover likely causes of medical conditions and establish diagnosis. First, get as many details as possible about a patient's complaint. Find out if the patient has a history of the condition. Ask when the patient experienced the onset of symptoms. Check what makes it worse and what makes it better. Then find out about the patient's past medical history. Record any previous medical problems, especially those that could relate to the current condition. Other details can also contribute to a useful medical history. A good social history includes information about the patient's personal habits and lifestyle. A family medical history reveals conditions that are more likely to occur in a particular family. Before any medical procedure, make sure you have an updated record of the patient's allergies. This way, you avoid exposing patients to medications or substances that might harm them.
Okay, listen to the passage, or to the speaker again, and after that we are going to deal with the questions. Okay, and of course we are going to talk about three types of history: past medical history, social history, and family medical history. Listen again, and after that, we are going to answer the questions.
Unit 8, Taking a History. Exercise 5, page 19.
Assist the Med. Guide to Taking Medical Histories. As a medical professional, you should be prepared to take thorough medical histories. The data you collect reveals important details about a patient. Doctors use these details to uncover likely causes of medical conditions and establish diagnosis. First, get as many details as possible about a patient's complaint. Find out if the patient has a history of the condition. Ask when the patient experienced the onset of symptoms. Check what makes it worse and what makes it better. Then find out about the patient's past medical history. Record any previous medical problems, especially those that could relate to the current condition. Other details can also contribute to a useful medical history. A good social history includes information about the patient's personal habits and lifestyle. A family medical history reveals conditions that are more likely to occur in a particular family. Before any medical procedure, make sure you have an updated record of the patient's allergies. This way, you avoid exposing patients to medications or substances that might harm them.
Okay, so as you hear, there are actually three types of history, and of course these three types, we have past medical history, and we have social history, and family medical history. So these are three types of histories that patients should give you, or you should know these three types from your patients. So the medical past history, what does that mean? The medical past history, it means, let's, yes, use the right color. So it means the previous medical problems related to the current condition. So previous medical problems related to the current condition. Let me write it appropriately. Good. Social history. Social history, that means something related to the society and the patient's relationships in his community. So we say that's the patient's personal habits and lifestyle. So this is the social history deals with the patient's personal habits and lifestyle. Finally, the family medical history, and that is something related to the members of the family of the patient. So we say the conditions likely to occur in a particular family, something like inherited issues or diseases, or if there is a history of a disease like diabetes, or prostate cancer, for example, or a history of a cancer in the family. So that is really important to the doctor. So it is about the conditions likely to occur Yes, in a particular family. So these are the three types of history. And as we said previously, the doctor should have this little issue of empathy and this kind of, we say, good communicative skills. That means he or she can communicate in a very nice way, in a very gentle way with the patient to know to take the data, to know or to have the knowledge needed to give the correct and the accurate, we say, diagnosis. So these are the three types of history. And as I said, it's your way of speaking. It's something I cannot teach you. You have to develop these communicative skills by yourselves. And I think you are going to be wonderful doctors one day, inshallah. Okay, now we go to the next exercise, which is about the vocabulary. And let us make this clear. Then we go to the vocabulary, and we have, as usual, matching the meaning of the words or the words with their definitions. So number one, data. Data is number C, a collection of information. Onset. Onset is number A, the first instance of something. That's the onset, when something starts for the first time. Allergy is D. It is the condition that causes a reaction or illness. Complaint, number 4, is F. Pain or illness reported by patient. And the procedure, number 5, is E. So a medical treatment. And then finally, family medical history is number B, which is a record of a patient's family's condition. Of course, the vocabulary of the class today is not very difficult. Not all the classes are difficult, but we have to deal with them. Now we are going to choose the correct word to match or to finish the sentence. Look at question number 4, everybody. Read the sentence pair. Choose where the words best fit in the blanks. So we have number 1. We have Paul's family has a cancer. So he talks about the family. So is it current cancer or a history of cancer? Yes, you're right. So it is history, a history of. A history of cancer. B, the patient's current, of course, this is easy, current condition was caused by a recent injury. 2, social history, past medical history. The patient's, number A, included her previous surgery, so that this talks about the past. So that means past medical history. Past medical history. Okay, this is a Y. And finally, the patient's social history. Included her occupation. Okay, after we finished, now as usual in this part, we are going to listen to a conversation, and this conversation is part of a real life, we say, situation, or real life medical situation. And as I always say, by listening and practicing, you can practice the way or the things related to the job, to your job. Yes, I give you, for example, rules, we give you grammar, we give you vocabulary, but listening to real situations makes you really good in English. Or so this is called knowledge of the world. You have to know how do real people speak, how do real situations, what happens in real situations between a patient, a doctor, nurse, patient. So in this way, you can really communicate correctly and appropriately, and you can develop your language as well. Okay, now let's listen. And before we listen, we have two questions. Question one, what is the purpose of the conversation? Why this conversation is happening? To correct an error in the medical history, to clarify the woman's social history, to establish an appropriate treatment, or to collect data for a medical history. Number two, which is it true about the woman? Her condition comes and goes. Her condition has been treated before. She has had the condition her whole life. And finally, her family has a history of heart problems. So we are going to listen 2 times, then we answer these questions. Listen, please.
Exercises 6 and 7, page 19.
The doctor will be in shortly, Miss Granger. While you're waiting, I have a few questions about your past medical history.
Of course. What do you need to know?
You wrote on the form that you're suffering from chest pain.
Yes, I've had this problem on and off for years.
Do you remember when exactly the onset of the problem was?
Let's see. I think I first noticed it about 6 years ago.
Have you ever been treated for the condition?
No, I did see a doctor once about it, but he couldn't find the cause.
Does anyone in your family have a history of heart problems?
No, not that I know of. Do you think that could be the problem?
We don't know anything yet. We just want to get as much information as we can so the doctor can make an informed diagnosis.
Okay, listen again.
Exercises 6 and 7, page 19.
The doctor will be in shortly, Miss Granger. While you're waiting, I have a few questions about your past medical history.
Of course. What do you need to know?
You wrote on the form that you're suffering from chest pain.
Yes, I've had this problem on and off for years.
Do you remember when exactly the onset of the problem was?
Let's see. I think I first noticed it about 6 years ago.
Have you ever been treated for the condition?
No, I did see a doctor once about it, but he couldn't find the cause.
Does anyone in your family have a history of heart problems?
No, not that I know of. Do you think that could be the problem?
We don't know anything yet. We just want to get as much information as we can so the doctor can make an informed diagnosis.
Okay, so number 1 or question 1, what is the purpose? What is the purpose of the conversation? Yes, you're right. It is D, to collect the data for a medical history. And number 2, which is true about the woman? So it is A, her condition comes and goes. Okay, the last step, as you know, or as usual, we do it, is to do some writing for the missing words in here. So that depends on your listening. So now we listen and we write at the same time. Listen to the nurse and the patient again.
Exercises 6 and 7, page 19.
The doctor will be in shortly, Miss Granger. While you're waiting, I have a few questions about your past medical history.
Of course. What do you need to know?
You wrote on the form that you're suffering from chest pain.
You wrote on the form that you are suffering. You're suffering from chest pain.
Yes, I've had this problem on and off for years.
Yes, I have had this problem. On and off. On and off. That means comes and goes for years.
Do you remember when exactly the onset of the problem was?
Let's see. I think I first noticed it about 6 years ago.
About 6 years ago.
Have you ever been treated for the condition?
Have you ever been treated? This is the present perfect. Have you ever been treated? This is D, treated for the condition. So this is present perfect, linking the past with the present.
No, I did see a doctor once about it, but he couldn't find the cause.
But he couldn't find.
Does anyone in your family have a history of heart problems?
No, not that I know of. Do you think that could be the problem?
We don't know anything yet. We just want to get as much information as we can so the doctor can make an informed diagnosis.
So does anyone in your family have a history of heart problems? Another issue here from this conversation, not only does the nurse help the doctor, but also the nurse here, he or she, as you can see here, takes the medical history, asks questions. The patients ask the patient some questions before the patient goes and sees the doctor. And you have to deal with this. Of course, maybe in our countries, the doctor does everything, but out in the world, there is other procedures. The nurse, there are jobs for the nurse or nurses that they should do before the patient can see the doctor. So they take the history, they ask questions, they do some measurements, then the doctor comes and sees the patient. And this is not like what we have here. Okay, anyway, so this is what we have for taking history. It's not very difficult, as you can see. And now we are going to move to the next part, which is the language part. And as usual, we say language is the most important thing that you think that you should develop. And this happens by taking some rules, with grammar rules, and then we do a lot of listening and a lot of reading. And in this way, especially the listening, you can develop your language skills quite well. Now let's move to the next part. And today we are going to deal with a new topic, which is the present perfect continuous. In the last few classes, we started talking about past simple and present perfect and present simple. We said past, something happened and finished. And then we took past continuous, that something happened and finished in the past, but it took some time, happened, finished. And present perfect, happened, finished, short time ago, to link the past with the present. Or something happened, but we still remember, we still have some feelings about that issue. Today, no. Today we are going to link three things in one issue. Present, perfect, continuous. So what does that mean, present perfect continuous? So the action, for example, I started my class today about half an hour ago. So I started the class almost half an hour ago. Then in the last hour, I was talking, and now I am still talking and explaining and giving the class. So the class started from the past and it went on to the present, and the class, the action is still going. So if we have this, what is called the time arrow, let me explain it in here to you. So if I have this time here, so we have the time. So this is present. This is a future. And this is past. So if you look at the action here, so if I look at the action, so the action, my English class, started in the past, let's say 30 minutes ago, 30 minutes. Here, from here. So the class started 30 minutes ago, and now in the present, and the class is going on. So the class started from the past, continuous to the present. This is the present, and we are going to the future. So what happened here? Action started, happened, still happening, to the future. So we are linking the past to the present to the future. So this is called present perfect continuous. Present perfect continuous. And how do we do present perfect? We have verb present perfect. We have or has plus been plus verb plus ing. So the present perfect, we have and has. They take the past participle of the verb been, and verb to be takes the verb and the ing. So we say present perfect continuous. So don't think too much. It is have or has. Have or has. Yes, don't think too much in here. It is just, the rule is very, very easy. We use just have for plural, has للمفرد, and then plus been. been هي التصريف الثالث للفعل be, plus verb كأي فعل, then ing. That's it. That's it. It's very easy. It's not difficult. But the idea, we are linking three things together: past, present, and we are going to the future. So I started around, we say, more than 30 minutes ago, from the past, 30 minutes ago, then to the present time now, then I'm finishing the class, maybe about an hour or so. So past, present, future, three things: present, perfect, continuous. Okay, now we have some exercises, and with exercises or examples, we can understand the whole thing even better. We use the present perfect to talk about a situation or activity that started in the past. نبدأ بحدث وقع في الماضي، بدأ في الماضي, and has been in progress for a period until now. واستمر من الماضي ولحد الآن. Sometimes we use the present perfect continuous with expressions that indicate the time period. with since and for. هنستخدم الأشياء اللي تعطي معنى الزماني اللي هي since و for. I've been meaning to phone Jack since I heard he was back in the country. I have been meaning هو هذا الشخص to phone يفكر إنه يتصل بجاك من الماضي ولحد الآن since I heard he was back in the country منذ أن سمعت إنه رجع للبلاد. إذا هنا هو قاعد يفكر متردد لكن مستمر في التفكير. The competition has been running every year since 1980. فلاحظوا هنا the competition هناك مسابقة عالمية مسابقة دولية أي مسابقة بدأت في عام 80 ومن عام 80 مستمرة في الحدوث لحد هذه اللحظة يعني في حدود 41 سنة since 1980 من عام 80 لحد الآن 41 سنة يعني خلال بدأت قبل 41 سنة واستمرت في 41 سنة ووصلت لحد الآن ومستمرة. إذن present perfect continuous. She's been living in New Zealand for over a year now. She's been living. إذن هي مستمرة عاشت في نيوزيلندا ومستمرة في نيوزيلندا ولحد الآن قاعدة في نيوزيلندا. إذن بدأت العيش استمر العيش لحد هذه اللحظة. 1, 2, 3. People have been saying for ages that the building should be pulled down. هناك موقف أو هناك مثل بناية قديمة أو بناية آيلة للسقوط هنا يعني بناء قديم وخطير لكن الناس ماذا يقولون؟ People have been saying for ages. الناس يتكلمون منذ وقت طويل أي بدأوا بالكلام استمروا بالكلام لحد هذه اللحظة. ماذا يقولون؟ That the building should be pulled down. إنه هذا المبنى يجب أن يهدم يجب أن يزال هناك خطر. إذا تكلموا في الماضي استمروا في الكلام في الماضي إلى حد هذه اللحظة في الحاضر. Without such an expression, the present perfect continuous refers to a recent situation or activity and focuses on the present results. مرات أيضا هناك كما في الجمل الماضية تتكلم عن حدث وقع في الماضي واستمر لفترة طويلة ووصل الحاضر. لا الآن النوع الآخر أو نوع من عنده إنه يركز على الوقت الحاضر أكثر من الماضي اللي هو Look, it's been snowing. Look, هذه it's been هذه كلمة it's been معناها it has been. هذه it's معناها it has been. It's been snowing أي بدأت تثلج أي مثل المطر snowing أي ينزل الثلج من السماء في الشتاء. إذن it's been يعني بدأت تثلج وما زالت الثلج ينزل لكن أنا اللي يهمني إنه تشوف الآن معناها الأكشن. لكن ليش نقول it has been? He didn't say it is snowing. كان قال look it is snowing إنها تثلج. لا أريد يفهمك إنه هذا الثلج يهطل أو ينزل من السماء لمدة ومستمر لحد الآن. لكن الآن برضو المنظر جميل فهو يريد يربط الفكرة بالماضي إنه لي مدة هو ينزل لها مدة هي تمطر لها مدة وهي تخدم أو تشتغل من أجل يعطيك فكرة أنه الحدث بدأ في الماضي مش الآن في الماضي ومستمر لحد هذه اللحظة. You are looking well. I've been playing a lot of squash to lose weight. You are looking well. واحد يقول له واو شكلك كويس يعني باين جسمك رشيق وكذا. فالثاني شنو يجيب أو يجاوبه يقول له I've been playing a lot of squash to lose weight. I've been playing a lot of squash to lose weight. I've been playing إذن هنا معناه أنا مستمر بلعب لعبة السكواش اللي هي الكرة والمضرب والكرة المرنة وعلى الحيط هناك حيط زجاجي أو كذا نوع خاص من البلاستيك أو عفوا حائط وجوانب من الخلف مثل الزجاج البلاستيك بحيث يتفرج الجمهور على اللاعبين. سكواش تسمى سكواش اللي هو مضرب يشبه التنس لكن يختلف وكرة مرنة. So I've been playing a lot of squash to lose weight. إذا أمارس لعبة squash لأخسر الوزن. Haven't seen anything of fraud. Haven't seen anything of fraud for a while. No, he's been working in Germany. شفته رود، شفت علي، شفت حسن، شفت سناء. No, he's been working in Germany. He has been working. Well, we don't say he has been, he's been working. أي هو لمدة يشتغل في ألمانيا، معناها بدأ في العمل في ألمانيا ومستمر في العمل إلى ألمانيا في ألمانيا وقاعد يعمل الآن لحد هذه اللحظة في ألمانيا. إذا ماضي واستمر الماضي لحد الآن مستمر. نجي اللي بعدها. هنا عندي معنى آخر اللي هو the situation or activity may still be going on or it may just have stopped. ممكن يكون مستمر وممكن يتوقف. We've been discussing the proposals for a number of years. We've been discussing the proposals for a number of years. هنا الشخص يناقش المقترحات لسنوات. شنو معناها still going on؟ And have you been crying؟ هنا بعض الأحيان مرات يحصل موقف تخش أنت وتلقى مثلا الشخص مثلا أنهى طعامه أو شخص كان يبكي أو هناك دموع في وجهه معناها كان يبكي أو شعره مثلا مبلول معناها كان داير حمام فمعناها إلى حد هاللحظة توقف قبل لحظات توقف هذا الحدث اللي كان يعمله فنقول have you been crying؟ هل كنت تبكي؟ have you been eating؟ كنت تأكل؟ لأنه استمر بالأكل إلى حد ثواني قبل ما تدخل توقف فهنا نربط الماضي إلى حد لحظة الكلام اللي هو recently لاحظوا كلمة recently stopped بهذا الشكل. We often use the present perfect continuous when we ask questions with how long. في العادة عندما نسأل عن طول المدة في العادة كسؤال كنوع من الاستخدام اللغوي عندما تسأل كم ليك تشتغل كم ليك قاعد تستنى كم ليك قاعد مثلا تكتب بهذا الشكل. How long have you been waiting for me؟ واحد يستنى فيك وانت تأخرت عليه فتشوفه تحس بالحرج فتسأله oh hi علي how long have you been waiting for me؟ كم ليك تستنى؟ فهنا معناها يستنى من الماضي ومسكين واستمر في الماضي وقاعد ممكن لي ساعة يستنى ساعتين يستنى من الماضي ولحد الآن. How long have you been living next door to you؟ How long have they been living next door to you؟ كم ليهم ساكنين جنبك؟ جيران مثلا تسأل على الجيران كم ليهم ساكنين جنب حوشك أو جنبك إذا هنا أسألك عن أكشن لكن القاعد مستمر لحد الآن. For more than 2 years I've been trying to get permission to extend my house. هذا يتكلم عن البلدية. For more than 2 years I've been trying to get permission to extend my house. مسكين قاعد يقدم في طلبات انه يحاول يعمل توسعة او ياخذ الاذن بالبلدية يعمل توسعة للبيت لكن لحد الان لم يوافقوا على ذلك. Unemployment has been rising steadily since the huge increase in oil prices. Unemployment البطالة بدأت تزداد أو has been rising مستمرة في الزيادة steadily بشكل منتظم since the huge increase in oil prices رغم زيادة الأسعار في أسعار النفط. Okay. Okay. ممكن we can use هنا the present perfect continuous or the present tense, the present simple or the present continuous when we talk about a situation or activity that started in the past and is still happening now or has just stopped. However, we use the present perfect continuous when we are talking about how long. إذن هنا نفس الشيء نسأل عن السؤال. I see Tom most weekends and I've been seeing a lot of Tom since he moved into the flat upstairs. Not I see. It's raining. هذه ممكن it's raining or it's been raining heavily all night. حسب المعنى. إذا تريد تتكلم على شيء كمضارع مستمر فقط فحتقول it's raining، تمطر، الذي يهمك الحدث الآن. لا، يهمك الحدث إنه بدأ واستمر، حتقول it has been raining or it's been raining. هذه دائما احنا نقولها عندما نحتاج أن نضيف معنى، نضيف شوية في القواعد. نحتاج معنى بسيط نستخدم مضارع بسيط. نحتاج فقط حدث في الماضي وانتهى، ماضي بسيط وانتهى. نتكلم عن شيء يقع الآن ومهمني الآن، مضارع مستمر. لا، وقع واستمر في الماضي، من الماضي حتى وصل إلى الحاضر، لا، حنربط هنا بالمضارع التام المستمر. أوكي، حنيجي إلى سي اللي هي النقطة الأخيرة. When we talk about situations or actions that went on over a past period of time but finished at a particular point in time before now, we don't use the present perfect continuous. إذا نفس الشيء هنا يتكلم عن الماضي. عندما يتكلم عن الماضي مهما كان فهو يعتبر ماضي. ليش؟ لأنه بدأ وانتهى في فترة في الماضي، ليس له علاقة مع الحاضر. I was reading until midnight last night. لما قلت كلمة last night هنا، last night حددت الزمان، حددت الزمن. أنا last night معناها وقع، انتهى في الماضي. لا نستطيع أن نربط الآن إلى الحاضر. ليش؟ لأنه I was reading، كنت أدرس، كنت أقرأ until midnight، حتى منتصف الليل. خلاص انتهى الحدث. إذا لا أحتاج I've been studying، I have been studying until midnight. No. last night لا تأتي هنا. ليش؟ لأنه last night ذهبت مع last night، ليس لها علاقة الآن. فنستخدمها ببساطة ماضي مستمر. She had been living in Spain before her family moved to Brazil. She had been living. هنا ماضي تام مستمر. شنو معنى؟ حناخذه بعدين إن شاء الله. الماضي التام إنه كانت مستمرة في العيش وانتهت. She had been living in Spain before her family moved. لأنه عندي هنا حدثين، حدث ماضي قديم وماضي أحدث منه. كيف معنى هذا الكلام؟ كانت تعيش في إسبانيا قبل أن تنتقل إلى البرازيل، فكانت تعيش أولاً ثم انتقلت. فالعيش كان أولاً والانتقال ثانياً. فالعيش أولاً ماضي بعيد، نعطيه ماضي تام مستمر وماضي تام، هناخذه بعدين إن شاء الله. والذي يحدث بعده ماضي بسيط. He put off the decision for as long as possible, but eventually he made up his mind and bought the car. He put off the decision for as long as possible. هنا أجل قرار الشراء. عنده قرار يشتري سيارة وأجل القرار وانتهى الكلام. But eventually، لكن حدث شيء أخيرا. He made up his mind and bought the car. إذن he put off the decision for as long as possible. ألغى يعني مسألة الشراء وانتهى الموضوع. لكن فجأة حدث شيء. Eventually he made up his mind. قرر أن يشتري السيارة واشتراها. إذن الحدثين في الماضي. لا نحتاج أنه نعقد ونعمل ماضي يعني present perfect continuous. لا، كان لاغي الفكرة ثم قرر أن يشتري. كان لا يحب كذا، لا يحب مثلا أن يذهب إلى هذا المكان ثم ذهب إليه، وانتهى الموضوع بهذا الشكل. إذن اللغة تتماشى مع المعنى الذي يريد وصله. هل هو معنى يتحدث في فترة محددة في الماضي، ماضي بسيط. يتكلم عن حقيقة، مضارع بسيط. يتكلم عن استمرارية الآن، مضارع مستمر. يتكلم عن شيء وقع واستمر وانتهى في الماضي، ماضي مستمر. لا، يتكلم عن وقع، حدث وقع وتم قبل شوية ومهم، مضارع تام. وقع واستمر ومستمر إلى الآن. كما حصة اليوم أنا بدأت قبل أكثر من 40 دقيقة أو حدود أكثر من 45 دقيقة، ولحد الآن أنا مستمر. إذن وقع في الماضي واستمر في الماضي ومستمر الآن. هذا present perfect continuous. حننتقل الآن إلى بعض التمارين والتطبيقات، والذي يهمني في التطبيقات كالعادة هو ليس فقط نحل الجرامر والجرامر no. You have to understand the situation. لازم تفهمون الموقف، لأنه هذا الموقف ماذا يسمى knowledge of the world، المعرفة بالعالم، المعرفة بالذي يحصل حولنا، معرفة بكيفية استخدام اللغة. وهذا الشيء الوحيد الذي يمكن أن ينفعكم بعد هذه القواعد هو listening and reading. listening، تستمعون لأي شيء in English، فتأتي القواعد وتستخدم المواقف حسب المواقف، فيبدأ الدماغ ويبدأ بفهم القاعدة كتطبيق، وليس 1+1=2. no. لأن القواعد مهما أنا كنت شاطر وأنتم كنتوا شطار حتنسوها، لكن كيف نفهمها هنا الذي سيبقى في الذهن ويبقى في اللغة. الفهم مع الموقف. To understand the knowledge accordingly with the situation. لماذا قيلت؟ شنو هو الموقف؟ ما الذي يتحدث في الموقف؟ وهذا هو اللي حينفعكم. أما أن قواعد والله ما نتذكر، يعني مش حتتذكر كل القواعد، لا يوجد شخص يعرف كل القواعد، لكن يعرف اللغة اللي هي هذا اللي يهمني ويهمكم أنتم أيضا. إذن هنبدأ ب complete the sentences with the present perfect continuous from an appropriate verb. هنختار الأفعال ونجيب على الأسئلة تباعا إن شاء الله. Number 1. The situation continues to be serious and troops their lives to rescue people from the floods. Troops اللي هم الجنود أو القوات العسكرية أو الجنود. إذن the situation continues to be serious. إذا نتكلم على موقف اللي هو to be serious، موقف خطير. and to be serious and troops اللي هم قلنا الجنود أو الجيش. their lives to rescue people from the floods. أن يخاطرون بحياتهم من أجل إنقاذ الناس. إذن هنا ما زال their lives معناه هناك هؤلاء القوات أو هؤلاء الجنود يخاطرون بحياتهم، فشنو حنستخدم الفعل have. the troops اللي هم جمع، هنقول have been risking، أي يخاطرون بحياتهم في الماضي واستمروا في الماضي لحد الآن. مضارع تام مستمر. have been risking their lives to rescue people from the floods. أي هناك floods اللي هي الفيضانات، فيضانات خطيرة ليست فيضانات عادية، يعني ممكن إنسان يغرق ويموت، ففي العادة يتدخل الجيش، يتدخل الأطفاء، كذا الناس اللي لها علاقة بالإنقاذ تتدخل. فإذا هذا التدخل have been risking، حياتهم مهددة لأنهم يقومون بالإنقاذ، فهم مستمرين في الإنقاذ واستمروا ولحد الآن مستمرين ما زال في فيضانات. Mary, number 2. Mary hasn't been at work for a while. Mary hasn't been at work for a while. She her husband to get over a serious illness. إذا ماري لم تذهب للعمل لها مدة. لماذا؟ She her husband get over a serious illness. تساعد زوجها لاجتياز المرض، معناها مستمرة في المساعدة لحد هذه اللحظة. إذا has been helping. has been helping. has been helping لازم تحطون فعل، لازم فيها فعل، مش has been وخلاص. has been helping، وتكتب بهذا الشكل she's been helping، يعني تلفظ وتكتب she's been، لكن للسهولة نقول she has been، لكن لا نستخدم كلمة she has been. she's been. Number 3. I very hard for this exam. I hope I do well. هنستخدم مضارع تام. I've been working or I've been studying. هتكون I've been studying. أو نكتبها هنا على الجنب من أجل التوضيح. I have been studying. Study ing. مضارع تام مستمر. I've been studying. Number 4. Because the children are older, we of moving to a bigger house. باعتبار أنه الأولاد بدأوا يكبرون، بدأوا الأطفال يكبرون. We of moving to a bigger house. نفكر أن ننتقل من المنزل، فحنقول we have been thinking. We've been thinking. طبعا we have تكتب وتلفظ بهذا الشكل we've، لكن لأغراض الجرامر نقول we have، هي أصلها we've been thinking. Okay. Number 5. This suitcase around with me all day and it's really heavy. إذن هذا الشخص يحمل الشنطة طول اليوم وهو قايم الشنطة وحامل الشنطة and it's really heavy. فحنقول I've been carrying. خلينا نكتبها هنا، خلينا مكان. I have been carrying. أحمل الشنطة. Carrying. Yes. For several years now, Glasgow citywide festivals to celebrate the cultures of other countries. This year, the focus is on Sweden. Glasgow citywide festival. إذن festivals. إذن Glasgow مدينة اسكتلندا تحتفل for several. هنقول Glasgow هنقول has been holding، أي تحتضن تنظم. has been holding citywide festivals، أي تحتضن احتفالات على مستوى المدينة للمدن العالمية، تحتفل بالثقافات العالمية الأخرى of other countries. This year the focus is on Sweden. وهذه السنة تحتفل بالثقافة السويدية. إذن بهذا الشكل. Okay. Rewrite the sentences using the present perfect continuous from an appropriate verb for and use for or since if necessary. هنشوف هنا هنغير الفعل. Henry moved to California 3 years ago. فعندي هنا جملة على Henry اللي هو moved انتقل to California. إذن هنقول Henry has been living in California for 3 years. هذه كلمة هنا 3 نحط مكانها 3 وخلاص. The project to send astronauts to Mars began in 1991. The project to send astronauts to Mars began in 1991. إذن المشروع لإرسال رواد فضاء إلى المريخ بدأ في عام 91. إذن هنا فإذن هنقول the project to send astronauts to Mars. هنجيب الفعل ونغيره إلى المضارع التام. هنقول has been هنكتب هنا بدل هذه has been going on since منذ 1991 أي المشروع has been going on مستمر منذ 91 ولحد الآن. Yes, Campbell began a life sentence for murder in 1992. Campbell began a life sentence for murder. هذا شخص اسمه Campbell. Began a life sentence for murder أي خش في حبس مؤبد أو سجن مؤبد للقتل يعني تهمة القتل منذ العام 92 أي منذ العام 92 ولحد الآن هو في السجن. إذن فهنقول Campbell اللي هو هذا Campbell has been serving a sentence أي ينفذ بحكم المؤبد sentence for murder since 1992 أي منذ 92 ولحد الآن هو في الحبس المؤبد. Colin James took over as a head of the company 6 months ago. إذن هذا Colin James أصبح رئيس الشركة منذ 6 أشهر أي منذ 6 أشهر ولحد الآن هو الرئيس قاعد هو الرئيس. إذن هتكون Colin James has been running يعني يدير الشركة has been running the company for 6 months. Graham knee injury began at the US Open earlier this year. Graham's knee injury فهو شخص اسمه جراهام إصابته في الركبة بدأت at the US Open. US Open من أكبر بطولات التنس في العالم. بطولة التنس يسموها التنس المفتوحة في أمريكا معناها بطولة عالمية للتنس. إذا مسكين أصيب في ذاك الوقت وبدأت إصابته في الركبة منذ بطولة أمريكا المفتوحة للتنس this year. إذا منذ بدأت البطولة ولحد الآن هو عنده إصابة في قدمه. فحنقول Graham has been suffering يعاني المسكين suffering مستمر في المعاناة suffering a knee injury suffering a knee injury since the US Open earlier this year or since the US Open. أي منذ بدأت البطولة ولحد الآن هو يعاني من هذه الإصابة في الركبة. Local authorities began to invest heavily in a new computer systems at the beginning of the 1990s. الجهات المحلية أو السلطات المحلية began to invest heavily بدأت بالاستثمار بقوة. invest heavily تستثمر النقود والأموال بقوة in a new computer systems في أنظمة كمبيوتر جديدة since or at the beginning of the 1990s أي منذ بداية التسعينات. إذا منذ التسعينات ولحد الآن السلطات مستمرة في الاستثمار. فإذا حنقول local authorities هنقول have been investing heavily in new computer systems since the beginning. هنكتبها تحت هنا. Since the beginning of the 1990s بهذا الشكل. اوكي. انتقل إلى التمرين الأخير. underline، عندنا جمل هنا وراح نشوف هل هي صح أو خطأ، اللي هو number 1 underline the correct alternative. عندي هنا حنختار خيارات وهذا يشبه multiple choices أو MCQ. Bullfighting has been going on in Spain for centuries. Bullfighting اللي هو مصارعة الثيران. is going on مستمرة الآن ولا مستمرة من الماضي ولحد الآن؟ إذن حتكون الإجابة has been going on، مستمرة مصارعة الثيران من الماضي ومستمرة لحد الآن. I have always been finding it difficult to get up on winter mornings. هذا الشخص يعاني من النهوض من الصباح، يعني خصوصا في فصل الشتاء. فإذا هتكون هنا I always find. ليش؟ إن هذه fact، روتين، حقيقة، لا تحتاج إنه نطول الكلام، يعني هذا كله يعتبر كلام زايد. I always find it difficult، دائما أعاني أنا من النهوض الصبح، وهذا الشيء يعتبر كأنه يتكلم عن حقيقة. Number 3 I want to meet you since I saw your concert. إذن واحد يكلم شخص مشهور يقول له أنا كنت أرغب أن أشاهدك، أشوفك منذ شفت الحفل، أي منذ شاف الحفل، من شهر، من شهرين، من سنة، هو يحب يقابل هذا النجم. أي هذه الرغبة موجودة ومستمرة من الماضي لحد الآن. هنقوله I've been wanting. Number 4 over the last 6 months I am learning how to play the flute. إذن هنا يتكلم عن المزمار أو العزف بالمزمار، باعتبار يربط الماضي بالمضارع، فحتقول I've been learning، أنا أتعلم من الماضي وما زلت أتعلم لحد الآن، من الماضي إلى حد الآن. over the last 6 months. The phone's been ringing. Phone's ringing. Can you answer it? فإذا هناك تليفون يشرين أو يرن، فلا نحتاج إلى تعقيد، نحتاج فقط نقول the phone is ringing or the phone's ringing، فقط مضارع مستمر. المعنى لا يتحمل أنه كان يرن ومستمر بالرنين، لا يرن يشرين وخلاص. How long have you been learning Swahili؟ Swahili إحدى اللغات الأفريقية. إذن how long يسأل عن المدة اللي قاعد مستمر في التعلم، فإذا مستمر من الماضي ولحد الآن. How long have you been learning Swahili؟ during the last few years the company has been works hard to modernize its image. إذن خلال البضع سنوات الماضية الشركة the company هنقول has been working. ليش؟ لأن خلال بضع سنوات الماضية ولحد الآن has been working hard to modernize، إنه تحدث أو تعمل لتحديث صورتها في السوق أو بين المساهمين. إذن this is the end. خلينا نحل التمرين الأخير، ما زال وصلنا للتمرين الأخير اللي هو يعني ليس بشكل أيضا صعب. حنشوف الحل، هل اللي تحتها خط صح أو خطأ فقط. حنشوف هل هو الجملة صحيحة. I was expecting the book to end happily, but in fact it was really sad. I was expecting. إذن number 4 الأولى هنا I was expecting فتعتبر هنا صحيحة. كنت أتوقع الكتاب أن ينتهي بنهاية سعيدة، لكن انتهى بنهاية سيئة. The opposition groups were fighting the government on this issue for years, but so far without success. المعارضة كانت were fighting هنا the government on this for years لعدة سنوات، أي منذ الماضي ولحد الآن. فإذا حتصبح هتقول position هنقول have been fighting. ليش؟ مستمرة في القتال، مستمرة في المقاومة، مستمرة منذ سنوات ولحد الآن. The protesters have been campaigning for some months now to prevent the new road being built. إذن هنا الكامبينرز اللي هم المتظاهرين، البروتسترز المتظاهرين have been campaigning عاملين عملية مقاطعة أو حملات دعائية for some months now to prevent the new road being built من أجل منع بناء الطريق الجديد. فإذا ما زالوا مستمرين منذ الماضي ولحد الآن فالجملة صحيحة. He has been looking nervous until I told him to sit down and relax. Has been looking nervous until number 4. لا نحتاج إلى he has been looking. He was looking حنقول he، هذه خطأ، حنقول he was looking. كان يبدو عليه القلق بس وانتهى الكلام. كان يبدو عليه القلق until I told him to sit down. فقط كان قالق لما قلت له قامز. Work to repair the bridge has been continuing throughout this summer. إذن العمل لإصلاح الجسر has been continuing مستمر طول هذا الصيف. هل هذه الجملة تربط الماضي بالحاضر؟ نعم، العمل مستمر طول الصيف أي منذ بدايته ولحد هذه اللحظة. Before retrained as a computer programmer, before she retrained قبل أن يتم تدريبها as a computer programmer, she's been working as a secretary. كانت تعمل كسكرتيرة. رقم 6. إذن هنا انتهى الحدث فلا نحتاج إلى she has been working، فحنقول she was working، كانت تخدم وخلاص. قبل ما تتدرب وتصبح مبرمجة كمبيوتر كانت was working، كانت تعمل سكرتيرة. I was receiving the magazine for some time and enjoy reading it immediately. إذن هنا immensely but immediately and enjoy reading it immensely. أنا كنت أستلم دائما المجلة لبعض الوقت الآن منذ مدة ومستمتع بقراءتها بشكل رائع. فهنا باعتباري ما يستلم وما زال يستلم ومستمر في الاستلام فحنقول I've been receiving. I've been receiving the magazine for some time and enjoy reading it immensely. I was turning to leave when she said, maybe you'd like to stay for dinner. I was turning to leave. كنت طالع من الحوش. When she said, maybe you'd like to stay for dinner. لو تقعد للعشاء أو تستنى للعشاء. She said. إذا الحدثين وقعوا في الماضي فالحدث هنا صحيح. إذا this is what we have for grammar. إذا هنا عندي the grammar, and as we said, the grammar needs to look at the language, to the situation. لازم تنظرون إلى الموقف، المعنى المطلوب اللي نحب نوصله. هل هو معنى بسيط عادي مضارع بسيط، وقع وانتهى مضارع مستمر، مستمر من الماضي ولحد الآن مضارع تام مستمر. أتمنى أن تكونوا قد تعلمتم شيء جديد اليوم يضاف إلى الأشياء الكثيرة اللي أخذناها، وأتمنى لكم إن شاء الله جميعا النجاح والموفقية، ونلتقيكم إن شاء الله على خير في الدرس القادم. مع السلامة.